Yo, what up, everybody? It's your boy, and I'm back bringing you a review for One Piece chapter 706. Oh man. Oh man. Oda sure as hell loves his zingers, man. He sure as hell loves his zingers. So when we first saw Bellamy a few chapters back, I'm thinking he looks really familiar. And I didn't immediately think like, oh, this is that Bellamy. I didn't think of that. But then when in this chapter, Luffy's just like, hey, you're mellow. No, and then Belly's like, no, you idiot. My name's Bellamy. I'm like, oh, you're that guy that Luffy left his fist print on. Luffy knocked you out so bad that Luffy's fist was imprinted on your face. I vehemently remember that chapter. As a matter of fact, I vividly remember it because I remember when that happened, I laughed so fucking hard that it took me a second to cut my camera on. I remember my camera actually fell off the stand when I got ready to record the review, and I put the camera back on in order to cut the review on and start doing the chapter review. So thank you, Oda, for bringing back my favorite punching bag of Luffy. Now, with that being said, this dude has definitely gotten jacked since he's gotten his ass whipped by Luffy. Because even when he says like, hey, I'm not the same guy that you knew. I don't know why you thought that I lived in Jaya. Well, I don't know. Maybe because Luffy knocked the fuck out of you and left your fucking face imprinted with his fist on it. But okay. Anyway, you look at him, the guy, it's like he's, jumped into the hyperbolic time chamber and trained as well. And it's just like, dude, this dude is jacked now. Like, he is jacked. It's very well proportioned. I actually like the way that he's drawn. It isn't like Zoro where like the legs are a little scrawny and like everything's kind of built up top. Like Bellamy, the legs are still a little small, but he's just jacked. But what was interesting is he looks at Luffy and he says, do you really think I'm going to forget the face of the person who derailed my career? Yeah, I saw it. I saw the Sky Island. I saw the Sky People. And Luffy said, you didn't do anything to him, did you? And that's when he just trolls him. He raises the eyeglasses and he looks at him and says, maybe I did. Well, I can't be dealing with you forever because I got to get going now. And that's when he kind of runs out and he meets Bartolomeo. And what's interesting about that, Bartolomeo, one of the things that's interesting about that is like the people just absolutely hate this guy. They love Bellamy because Bellamy has revealed that if he wins here today, Bellamy is essentially going to be made one of the officers. And he knows something's coming because he says, if I want to survive the wave that's coming, then I need to be at Doflamingo's side. And so that's interesting. That's interesting. And the fact that it's revealed that like Doflamingo is somebody he looked up to, I'm like, wait a second, didn't Doflamingo kind of come in and just mollywop this dude, if I'm not mistaken? I remember Bellamy pre-time skip took a couple L's, one from Luffy and then one from Doflamingo. So, I mean, that's interesting. That's interesting. He's now working for him. And if that's the case, I mean, does Doflamingo have a connection to Jaya? Because I know he showed back up. But I'm wondering if Oda's going to, fill in some of the blanks there. Because if I'm not mistaken, Jaya had like the, what was the Poneglyph. And that ended up going up there to Skypiea. I'm wondering if Doflamingo is searching for something as well. I mean, he's an interesting character. But what's really cool about that is the fact that when the fight gets ready to happen, Bartholomew, he just throws this bomb and blows up the upper portion of the Colosseum. He's like, I don't need these people. I'm like, wait a second. No. Don't the way Colosseums work, if Oda's going to be taking this from the ancient Romans and everything's all bloodbath and all that, don't the crowds vote on the winners and losers? So if you turn the crowd against you, aren't you just signing yourself up for death? That's interesting. So I guess Oda's going to do something different. Now I'm really interested to see how he kind of handles that. Now, with that being said, I have to go this direction. I have to absolutely go this direction. So when Luffy is speaking to him, I still don't think Luffy fully understands the severity of the situation that he's in. I really don't think he fully understands it. I think Luffy's just like, oh, so yeah, we got to fight each other. That's cool. I think Luffy's just like, yeah, I kind of remember you, but I'm not worried about you. I just one-shot you. But it's looking as if like there's more to Doflamingo's character than I even gave credit for. There's more to it. I'm not sure what it is, But I do know that Doflamingo is a pretty huge character because that's one of the characters that, you know, when a buddy of mine was trying to get me into One Piece, he kept saying, you're going to love Doflamingo. You're going to love Doflamingo. He's a bit of a troll, but you're going to love Doflamingo. Like, you're going to love him. And he kept saying, like, you like Aizen, you like Madara, you like Pain. You know, you're going to love Doflamingo. Doflamingo, there's more to him than you realize. I just think he's got a cool design. But, you know, this is going to be interesting. This is going to be interesting because why would Bellamy say, I have to be a Doflamingo side and notice about the wave that's coming? And we know that, you know, Oda has a subplot with the Navy. And this kind of goes back to something else. Like I said when we first got here to Dressrosa that, you know, Oda has a tendency to have the Straw Hats separate and do the different subplots, like when Sanji in the last chapter is in full White Knight mode and he saves the Violet chick, and, you know, Zoro is, you know, being confronted with the fairy because he's going after his sword. Like, you get all these different subplots, but, like, usually it takes a little longer to get to the subplots. Like, the Straw Hats kind of, they layer one on top of each other, right? In this one, there's so many different subplots going on all at once, and they could all carry their own arc. So what's really interesting is how is Oda gonna pace all of this? How is he gonna pace it? Because this is one of those instances where I really feel as if Oda's typical formula is the best way to do it, but it's almost like he's trying something different here. Because typically the way that Oda does it is you have your main plot, and then you have a trio of subplots where the different Straw Hats are separated and their stories kind of all interweave, but they all tie back into the main plot of whatever the arc is. In this one, it almost feels as if this has the potential to sidestep because all of them are so huge in story and scope and potential consequences that you have to follow each of these different parties. And it's almost as if these subplots are going to be arcs of their own. Like, it didn't like Punk Hazard where it's like, oh yeah, you got these kids and they're missing. Oh, Luffy and them, they're fighting a fucking dragon. It didn't like that. It didn't necessarily like that where, you know, you get like the little tidbits here and there and it's all layered on top of each other. Or like with Fishman Island with Shirahoshi, and you find out with what happened with her family. It all gradually works back to the main plot. But with this one, all these different sub-meanings and these different subplots, it feels as if there's a bigger grandiose thing behind all of this. So this is going to be interesting because if this is done right, this is going to be brilliant writing. If this is done poorly, this is going to, this could be a really bad arc. Because if Oda just would have, you know, said, hey, flame fruit, Luffy's got to get it. Somebody from Blackbeard's crew wants it. The Navy is getting ready to retaliate with Doflamingo. And meanwhile, you got Caesar being moved to, you know, carry out Lost Plan. That in itself would have been enough. But you got all these other subplots where Kinemon is like, yeah, okay, yeah, you got me. I'm Foxfire Kinemon. Take me to my guy, right? Like the guy from Wano that was with Momonosuke and himself. Oh, CP0's here, Robin, flashbacks, and all this stuff. So like, it's so much that is on the table for all these could be different arcs themselves, and each of the Straw Hats could be leading a different arc. This has potential, but this also has potential to backfire. So I want to know from you guys, right? I want to know in hindsight. Don't spoil anything for me, but in hindsight, how did you feel about how Oda handled all this? Let me know what the execution is like in your opinion. But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, share. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Have an incredible day, guys.